All right, I spent way too much time on Twitter today.
Oh no.
And I really got to stop doing that because the people on Twitter make my brain hurt.
I know.
Uh, there is a narrative going around. I know we just talked about this movie last week, but here's the funny thing: I don't like the guy. I can't stand the guy. But there's a narrative going around that Tron Ares failed because they cast Jared Leto, and I'm like, if you think that, you are truly insane, because the most successful Tron movie is the second movie, Tron Legacy, and that one just barely broke even. And that was in pre-COVID times. So you've got a franchise now that have two previous films, and pre-COVID, when people were going to the movie theaters in droves, one of them failed outright, became a cult classic, and the other one just kind of sort of broke even at the box office. And now, in a post-COVID era, when less people are going to the theater, you think that this movie would have been a hit if anyone else other than Jared Leto had been in it? This movie, I'm a hardcore Tron fan. I saw Tron Ares 3 times. I could have told you this movie was going to bomb. There was no chance it wasn't going to bomb. It doesn't matter who was in it. You could have put Tom Cruise in that, and when you got movies with Tom Cruise in them,
you can't lose. There's a couple things I kind of agree with you. These days, though, with something like Tron, I don't know if a Disney movie like that, with so much merchandising, with like stuff with theme parks and licensing, what they do, I don't know if a movie like that could technically stay bombed. You know what I'm saying? I think eventually it makes its money back, or its stuff gets moved around in the background. Right. Like eventually it'll do fine.
It blows my mind, Pert, because I tell people this all the time. A lot of these movies are vehicles for just merchandising. That's it. Yeah. They just want to sell things. And like a lot of the Marvel films, they're like, oh, well, it only broke even at the box office, but then it sold billions of dollars in toys and t-shirts. And it's like, that's what the studio cares about. So for me, it's almost maddening when we break down box office numbers, because I don't think people, I'm not talking about us here. I mean, like the general, slop people on fucking Twitter know anything about that. And then it kind of permeates and gets caught up in this world. I do believe Jared Leto might have affected some people's decision to go out and spend money, but I don't think it was a major factor in the failure of the movie. So
I want to even add to that, where it's like stuff like Disney has made it a point where they know to even counter program their own stuff. So it's like, let's say Snow White's getting a lot of backlash for who they casted, or The Little Mermaid. What they do is they actually do a push on their older stuff, so that sells in protest too. So they're going to make their money back one way or another if that specific production doesn't make it.
Yeah, there was an article last week that came out where one anonymous studio insider said it's not like this movie would have done well if Ryan Gosling starred in it. And I saw people on Twitter actually going, yeah, it would. Ryan Gosling in Tron? Who wouldn't want to see that? And they started setting up like Twitter polls. Would you watch a Tron movie with Ryan Gosling? And of course, they're all voting yes, yes, yes. And they're going, you see, like a Twitter poll is evidence of what an audience is going to pay to see. Now, to that, I just have to bring to the table
that same audience. Wait, hold on. That same audience probably would love to see original films too. Right. And then,
but they don't.
Yeah.
But I'd like to point out this, the Ryan Gosling sells Tron 3 crowd. Okay, where were you when Ryan Gosling was leading Blade Runner 2? Did you go see that? Because that was another cult film, that got a sequel. Yeah. Ryan Gosling starred in it. Nobody went to see it.
Are y'all ready for this? I just did a little digging. Apparently, Disney, whatever fucking way you want to put this, made roughly, I think it says like almost $150 million in Tron and Tron Legacy 4K Steelbook bundles. They sold out. So they did this marketing around the time right before the movie came out, and it quickly sold out. And it says about $150 million just in like the 4K re-release of Tron and Tron Legacy.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, and this is you know, I don't agree. I don't particularly like this, but a lot of theatrical movies now seem to be trailers for or rollouts for when they come out to streaming. That Chris Evans Christmas movie, right? Like with The Rock, that did terrible in theaters, but I heard that was like amazing.
It was a great movie. We watched it on streaming here, and we thought it was like, this movie should have done really well in theaters, but it didn't.
It did, but I heard it did fantastic. So much that they're even talking like the second
wasn't
one.
That wasn't that made for streaming though, and Amazon just released it to theaters just to get some hype for it?
Maybe.
So
I don't know about that.
If Amazon didn't really care about the theatrical revenue, because the same thing happened with Napoleon, people were like going up and down, like, oh, that movie bombed, but they also failed to neglect that was made for Apple TV Plus. So the theatrical revenue was just gravy to them. Same with Killers of the Flower Moon.
Same with Argyle. Argyle was made for Apple. And, you know, everyone was, oh, it did so bad in theaters. Well, Apple didn't give a shit. They wanted to get you to watch it on Apple. So, but it just goes to prove that, you know, when you give things, we're kind of tangenting here, but when you give things a theatrical release, it gives them a certain cultural cachet that they don't have otherwise. Like, for example, Amazon, 2 years ago, they put out a Christmas movie that went direct to Amazon. And it starred Eddie Murphy, and it was called Candy Cane Lane. Nobody watched it. But then last year, you do the Rock movie. It gets a theatrical release. Nobody goes to see it in the theater, but everyone watched it on Amazon because it was in theaters, it now had a more cultural importance than the Eddie Murphy movie could have ever had.
Right.
And look at this. We got a super chat from Razor Factual and Super Chat Hippo. He thanks you. Look at that.
Look, I have to say something. Razor Factual never super chats me, and you're in my fucking show every fucking so. Shout out to Joe for getting a $2 super chat out of you.
That's $4 I've made this year.
For Wetties.
You sticking around for Wetties after the show? Burp.
I don't even want to know what that is. Is that when you wet your pajamas, Joe? Is that what's going on here?
We don't know what it means. We have no idea what it is.
When you're dancing so hard, you go, "Oh, I did a Wetties." Oh.
Yeah, we're not actually sure what a Wetty is.
I think it's when you wet your pajamas.
Oh boy. CJH says all 3 Tron movies flopped. It's not a franchise the general public cares about. Yeah, it's a niche franchise. It's absolutely.
And one thing that we cannot ignore about Tron Legacy is that also came out in a post-Avatar world in terms of 3D. So how much of that box office was from 3D showings, because 3D was still all the craze even by late 2010.
Yeah, that's true.
That
movie was made for 3D. There's some sequences where like this was clearly made to be seen in 3D.
That's another thing too.
I wonder if Disney looks at them as like the most expensive soundtracks ever, because like those I'm sure like keep selling. Like they just look at it like that. It's like,
I'm gonna look at the chart. Hold on, I'm gonna look at while you're talking, Joe. I'm gonna look up the chart for the chart.
The soundtracks must be doing always like great in terms of. You know, even when this new
here's my hot take though. Here's my hot take though. The best soundtrack is still the first one, Wendy Carlos.
That is such a hot take. That is so boomer.
Yeah, but Wendy
versus
Carlos
the boom boom with a Dark Knight that shit. You got to Dark Knight that shit.
Wendy Carlos' score in that first movie is so good though.
With the drums.
Oh my god,
the digital farts.
The soundtrack debuted at #1 on 4 different charts, including Top Rock and Alternative Album, Top Alternative Album, Top Dance Album, and it's sold out on vinyl. And it's also got an 80 out of 100 on Metacritic.
Tron is cool in everything but movies. like think about it. Now this guy gets to go on tour. The red, like people are gonna go crazy when the red lights go on and the song, like whatever.
It's gonna look great at a concert. Like it's gonna look great at a concert.
Yeah, and everyone's gonna love it. It's like, yeah, I'm a huge Tron fan. It's like, what the hell? It's like, no, none of them go to the movies. It's just not for movies.
But you know what, Perp? All of this points me in the direction that you're right, that they don't give a fuck if the movie doesn't perform well in the box office, because they're going to make so much money off of everything else.
There was an article that I saw on Twitter today that said that the movie was made as an advertisement for the ride at Disney World. Like they will run.
They're pulling that from a Deadline article. Even Deadline Hollywood theorized
trailers.
That.
These are trailers for other platforms.
They're like, we're spending $100 and some million on a movie, and it's going to make us billions. And
why not? How crazy did everyone? How crazy did everyone go for that Allstate Batman commercial? Oh my god, that needs to be real. Like Disney's just listening to fans. Like we're going to do a huge ass 2-hour commercial.
But you know what? This movie is going to sell like crazy 10 years from now.
It might even do really well on VOD. We don't know yet. It might do really well on VOD.
Yeah. That's where I'm planning on seeing it.
Look at Legacy. There is this weird phenomenon where people are going crazy about Legacy, talking about how great Tron Legacy was. Tron Legacy was so good. I've always loved Tron Legacy. Don't get me wrong. But that movie was not well received by fans, by critics. That film was not well received at the time. So there's this weird revisionist history that everybody loved that movie. Maybe people are coming around to it now, but that happened with the prequels,
truth. You didn't see that. That's going to happen with everything. That's literally going to happen with everything now.
Right.
Like,
so,
once it happened with the prequels,
so 20 years
doors are open
now,
for everything.
So 20 years from now, like the Blu-ray Steelbook of Tron Legacy just sold out. They're going to be selling out of the Blu-ray Steelbook.
Tron Ares 4K on Blu-ray Steelbook 20 years from now, selling out 150 million, more than the movie made.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Fucking crazy, man.
It's new time.
Well, they have
to adjust how people are taking in like all this media now. Like people are like consuming media in such a different way. These studios are going to adjust, and this is like a weird whatever. I don't know.
That also assumes that Disney doesn't bury Tron again, because they did completely bury Tron by about 2012. There was that animated series on Disney XD. I don't remember what it was. Was it Tron Uprising?
Tron Uprising.
Yeah, but they had games though that would come out.
Yeah, there was one that was Tron Evolution.
And part of the reason Tron Legacy got made, people seem to forget this. Tron was, mostly a forgotten franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't even a franchise. It was one movie. But Tron was pretty much one of those forgotten pop culture things of the past. But then in the early 2010s, maybe around 2008, 2009, I don't know, they put out a video game for like the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox called Tron 2.0. And that game sold so well that they were like, oh, let's make another movie. So it was the video game of Tron 2.0 that pushed Tron Legacy into production.
I don't know if they're going to completely shelve it, though, because if they have a ride coming out, I feel like
it's already out. It's popular.
They're going to have to be putting like something else out with Tron every once in a while, whether it be a cartoon or a TV show or something.
I have a feeling Tron Legacy is like in the top 10 most streamed movies on Disney Plus right now. It wasn't last week, but it jumped because of the new one. I think this new one's going to do very well on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And the future of this franchise, if there is a future, isn't in the movies. I think you're going to get a Disney Plus series.
I think they're going to completely. I think you're right, but I think they're going to move away completely from this story and do something else. I think it'll be something completely different.
I think Tron. I think that it's going to be a thing where it's like in the future, there's probably going to be like a movie that tries to mix up everything in Avengers style thing, and there's going to be like a Tron,
like a Ready Player One thing, or something.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to see Tron in other like shows, like an episode or something like that. Yeah.
I do need to fact check Joe here for a second, because I did look it up. Tron 2.0 came out in 2003.
Okay.
And it was for PC, but it did release to Game Boy Advance and original Xbox at the time.
Yeah, I had it for the Xbox.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what kind of pushed Legacy, because there was a toy line, there was an action figure line for Tron 2.0. That kind of became a thing for a minute there.
I mean, I think where Disney screwed up with Tron 3 is that they didn't do it 10 years ago. They should have done it with Sam Flynn and Cora, because they did set that up at the very end of Tron Legacy, but then Tomorrowland bombed and Disney got afraid, and then they scrapped it entirely.
I'm kind of glad they didn't, though.
I like Tomorrowland.
Because Ares was such a better movie than Legacy, and that's actually not a controversial opinion.
I thought Legacy was boring.
Yeah, if you look at the audience scores, Tron Ares has the highest audience score on Rotten Tomatoes of any of the films. and it's got a higher critic rating too. Critics didn't like.
It's getting better little by little.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting. Back when Tron came out in 1982, it says here that at the time, this is obviously not adjusted for inflation for everybody that loves to do that. Their merch made about $70 million for Disney in 1982, not adjusted for inflation. So that was just in incredible. Toy sales for
That's incredible.
T-shirts and stuff. Yeah.
They probably have lit up toys or something. Everybody wanted one of those.
Which that would be why they've kind of kept it around. If they made that much money off of that movie on just toys and stuff.
And it still holds true in the same way, probably. They're making money in everything else except the movies. And they do these movies just in case, like, hey, maybe we'll make money this time.